Welcome back to Turks and Jerks, everybody. Sitting to my right are two people who talk on TV nothing about football, but they are here this morning to break down the NFL's Week 2 of action. It's our Turks segment. We have to jump right into it so we can bring you some fun of the best of the weekend.
I just want to say, Jason, that your television and the internet are littered with actually qualified analysts about football whose whole lives are devoted to football.
Yeah.
Where do you get people whose sole analysis of football comes from trying to watch the game Sunday unless they're too busy? That's what we bring you here.
Very self-aware, Ben. Thank you for that. Well, speaking of the self-awareness, would you like to begin with your best of the weekend?
Yeah, sure. I'll go best of the weekend. Initially, I was leaning toward Frank Gore for the touchdown that made that a 23-20 game, not because I had the Colts plus 6.5, but just because, because the manner which he tiptoed down the sideline and stayed in and then got the ball around it was just, I was like, I love Frank Gore. It's a reminder that everyone who loves football should love Frank Gore. And when he retires, it will be a loss for the NFL. But then Sunday night happened, another bet I lost. The weekend started fine. It did not end. Sam Bradford. I mean, that trade got vilified.
Yeah.
And I don't think it should have gotten vilified. I think that if you're the Eagles, you're high-fiving, no question. It's a win for the Eagles because Carson Wentz, their quarterback of the future, and you just added 2 great picks, including a first-round pick for Bradford. But if you're the Vikings, they knew, we're good. We can win. And Bridgewater might not be back next year, right? Might not be ready next year, and he might not be the answer. So if we can get a quarterback who's a top 15 quarterback, and Bradford, we'd love to mock him, but he finished last year really strong, and he's okay. And he had a nice year his last year in St. Louis before getting hurt. So I think they gave up too much, but they're better with Bradford. And so 22 of 31, 286, 2 touchdowns. He was the better quarterback in a game with Aaron Rodgers, winning that game, opening up that new stadium with a 17-14 win. Obviously, the real star of that game, the defense. Both the pick and the strip on 2 drives that obviously at least end with field goals to tie the game. The Viking defense, they got 2 touchdowns in the Sean Hill start the week before against the Titans. But Bradford might be actually good, not just average, but he might be when healthy good.
He threaded the needle on a couple of passes that I was pretty impressed with. I didn't think Sam Bradford, and every time I watch him, I don't think of him having a pretty strong arm until you see it in action, because again, he's not in the game all that much, given the fact that in 10 minutes left in the second quarter, he came out of the game.
But this is one of those things I've always said. I've defended some players that come out of college and they're highly touted and they end up having a failed career. And some of those times, of course, not most, but some of those times, those guys just end up in a bad system and it didn't fit them.
That's true.
Now, I'm always going to forget his name, but he came out of Oregon. Joey, it doesn't matter. He's
Harrington.
Harrington. I always thought he was going to be a great pro, and he had a failed career, and everyone said he was one of the worst things that's ever happened.
Joey Harrington getting ready to throw the football. Here's actual speed of Joey Harrington getting ready to throw the football. A little slow for the NFL.
Right.
A little slow.
The thing is, maybe he would have been, but the thing is, and it's going to lead to also my Turks, but it doesn't matter. We'll get to mine later. But the point being, Sam Bradford ends up in a system where it works for him, the type of quarterback he is. You can't put him in a system where he's supposed to be running around and quick, fast. Then somebody comes, you dodge, you take a spin move, and you throw off in the run. That's not who he is. So when he's playing in Philadelphia, it didn't really work out that well because the system wasn't for him. Right. Maybe the Minnesota system works better for him.
Maybe.
He's a stand there, Statue of Liberty, 3 to 5 step drop, find the guy, get it to him.
You found one of those guys.
He's found one of those guys. So here's the reaction of every fantasy owner who had Stefon Diggs on their bench because nobody started him, right? Because you didn't even, I thought Sean Hill was going to start. Again, this is what you get, this kind of analysis. I didn't read that Bradford was even starting. So but Stefon Diggs, there's no way anybody started him. And 9 catches, 182 yards and a touchdown. And he looked great. He looked tough and catching balls over the middle. And then look, here's the deal. I have changed the world, me personally, maybe with Chris Liss. 10 years of ranting with Jank also about punting, and all of a sudden, coaches everywhere, it's give yourself 4 tries to get 10 yards instead of 3. It's 33% more tries. It will work. And they've been going for it on 4th down all year through 2 games. And Zimmer does it on 4th and almost 2, just inside the 20 when a field goal would cut it to 7-3. Everybody kicks a field goal in that situation. Everybody. Because even if you get the first down, You still might have to kick a field goal 3 plays later because it might be 4th and 10. But they get the first down with a tough pass over the middle of Diggs. It leads to the touchdown to Rudolph, which was a great throw. So Zimmer with that great call on 4th down, the Viking defense, Diggs, and Bradford, they're all sort of my Turks of the week, although led by Bradford. Bradford, how about these numbers? His quarterback rating was 121.2. Nobody knows what that means, but that's his old school quarterback rating, 121.2. Isn't that amazing, or isn't that horrible? And then his QB rating, the new thing, 64.3. That's amazing or awful.
What does it go to in the QB?
Who knows? Nobody knows. It's the dumbest thing in
Is
the
the
history of the
average
world.
50? Is that what it
Can
was?
you put it on a scale of 100? Like sabermetrics guys in baseball, they figured out how to do that. So you could rate it like 100 is average, right? And then a 117, good. 82, bad. 64.3, 120. They have two. They had one horrible number, and they go, no, let's fix it, and come up with another inexplicable number. Sorry.
Okay, you good?
Yeah, I'm done.
Take a deep breath. JR, you want to do your Turk?
It's surprising. It's hard for me to let out. It's the only reason why I'm stopping because I almost want to throw up.
Wait a minute, about Sam Bradford, before you throw up. Who did you used to make fun of him with and switch the names with?
Brad Sanford.
Oh, just Brad Sanford. That's right.
Yeah, well, because he's the same guy. It doesn't matter where he is. Either way, so the entire Patriots coaching staff, from top
Oh.
to bottom. I mean, it's hard to say, but it's true. I mean, if we're thinking about it, first of all, we know Garoppolo's gone down. Shoulder injury, that's pretty nasty.
Looked bad. His face looked rough.
Yeah, I mean, his whole shoulder, and probably 400 pounds worth of half his body weight, and also the next guy slamming on top of him, takes him out of the game. They still win the game, although only by a touchdown. The Patriots beat up on the Dolphins. That game was not as close as it looked. But it was after he went down. Either way it goes, out is Brady, in is Garoppolo. The questions at the beginning of the season is, how can the Patriots survive the first 4 games before Brady comes back? Maybe they can salvage a season where they end up being, 12-4 after they go on a streak after losing 4 games with this loser. Whoever they put in the damn game plays, man, and they play well. Because it goes back to the reason we were talking about your Turk was you put the guys in a system that works for those guys. And then whether it comes from the defense, to special teams, to the quarterback, to the running back, you put them in a position where they do well for who they are. These guys are professional athletes. They made it to a certain extent for a reason. You get them on your team, play them. And when you have to play them, they look good because they know how to play them. It's being a professional coach rather than going, I'm the coach, I know what I'm doing, so if you come into my system, you do the way I do, and if you don't, you suck. How about you suck if you don't know how to utilize the personnel that you've got there?
They've done it with like no wide receivers who would ever succeed in other teams. Right. I mean, I get it.
Not to the extent. Not to that.
But keep in mind, too, like the one thing I think we always sell short is like they do it with no wide receivers. Gronk over the past few years, when he's on the field, is the best tight end in the game. And they also signed a guy like Martellus Bennett,
and now
the same size as Gronk.
And now he's the best.
Which, by the way,
phenomenal.
You want to talk about a Turk-worthy mention in Martellus Bennett, not because of the catches. Have you ever seen a pass-blocking tight end?
Yeah.
You can't get past that man, which is unbelievable to me. On top of that, now the mindset goes, well, they're 2-0. Belichick spent a 3rd-round draft pick on Brissett from NC State. Is he going to throw 3 touchdowns?
See, that's okay. So Brissett came in. I think he ended up, because it was only like the second half. They probably didn't have him pass too much. He was 6 for 9 for like 100 yards, 110.
Of course.
I mean, he was sacked 2 times, fumbled 1, didn't lose it, and he didn't throw a pick, I don't believe. I mean, that's coming in on a surprise. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they gave up some more points at the end of the game. But is anyone looking into next week? I mean, we may assume, but you don't look in next week and go, oh, the Patriots are in trouble.
Short rest Thursday game against Houston.
None of it matters. Right. It's like no one believes that the Patriots are going to come in and lay an egg like we keep expecting them to lay eggs with the losers they keep making into NFL players. And I'm sorry to call these guys losers because apparently they're not, but we assume this, and any other team that would have to use this personnel would effing suck.
It's amazing. Yeah. Last year, J.R. Jackson, the senior Patriots conspiracy correspondent, this year going to wear a Brissett jersey to Turks and Jerks next month.
I love that.
Who would have thought LeGarrette Blount, after he punched that asshole out in college at a Boise State game after they lost, and they called him a thug and a loser, this guy's never going to make it, he needs a temperament, and he comes in the NFL, this is his 2nd team, I believe.
This is his 3rd team.
Even maybe. Yeah. Now everybody's like, look at LeGarrette Blount, hurdling guys. He's amazing. This guy's a baller. Oh, you guys hated him 3 years ago. because he was on a different team that didn't know how to use him and actually work with who he was as a person, man. And he's over here talking about how sorry, I'm filibustering this.
No, it's all right.
But he was in an interview, LeGarrette Blount, and I'm damn near ready to believe him. But he said he believes that his coach is the best NFL head coach of all time. And I was like, man, you're crazy, but how am I going to disagree
No,
with
I
you?
think he's probably right. So first of all, I was going to offer LeGarrette Blount. I needed a tight end in our league. I was going to offer him for Delaney Walker, who
Had a great
and
game.
good. I thought the guy needed running backs desperately, and he had 2 good tight ends, and I was going to try and get
Talking
Delaney.
about me?
No, you don't have Delaney Walker.
Gronk and Bennett, I think. No, I don't have.
No, I was going to offer that trade to, I don't remember who had in our league, and he needed backs, and I thought, that's a fair trade. He'll do it, probably. But, Blunt is only useful for a while. And then I was like, well, if this trade's so good, why don't I just start LeGarrette Blount? So I did.
And you got the
I
points,
did.
which
So,
good.
so I kept, but I think it's, Jenk and I were talking yesterday about, like, you imagine a coach like Belichick, who's been coaching for a long time, he's no longer a really young man, that when Brady retires, like, you imagine the coach sort of retires too, because who wants to have this glorious career and then have a couple of 7 and 9 seasons and so forth. But now, to me, whether it's Garoppolo or, we don't know enough about him. These guys have not, you need to see more than 2 starts from guys. Or Brissett, but now to me, Belichick's going to want to go, yeah, I'm going to stay another 5 years so that when I retire, you guys know it was me.
It's a good, that's true. It's a good point. Last Turk before we wrap up, Corey Coleman from the Browns, even though the Browns blew a 20-0 lead.
They covered all that matters.
They did cover. What I find fascinating is the Browns, one of the most defunct organizations in all of sports, in a cursed city like Cleveland. On 4th and 3, from Jake McCown, the rookie out of Baylor, gets across the first down line, has the wherewithal to get out of bounds.
That was right.
And stop the clock. He also had 2 touchdowns.
Terrence Williams, maybe take that note?
Well, it's not just Terrence Williams. Veterans across the league have been doing this sometimes. Like, we see it every year. It's half and half. You have the smarter guys in the league like Des Bryant who say get out of bounds and the guy doesn't. But when you have, I find it amazing, a rookie, first year in the league, second week of the regular season, for the Browns could figure this out.
That's why we give veteran too much credit. Like, these guys played in college. They played in high school. The clock ran then.
Right.
You know how to get
Well, but it's different. If you had a first down in college, the clock stops.
But you don't forget.
I get it, but you
don't forget, but
I know the clock stops, but it starts again. I mean, if there's 13 seconds to play, you need to get out of bounds. And like, they've played their whole lives. And so it's when they don't know. Marvin Jones, same thing last week, and he was running along the sidelines. It ended up working out for the Lions.
Right.
But you guys, they got to get out of bounds. And so
I think we overestimate that their reason for messing these things up with the clock management or getting out of bounds is that they forgot. No, they're trying to do more. It's the bottom line.
Yeah.
That's
All
all
right.
they're thinking.
that's what we got for Turks. That's our best of the week. Make sure to check out our worst of the week. Should be up very soon. Also,
Worst of the week, it's Turks.
Jerks. Sorry, Jerks.
Got a name.
Jurks.
Worst of the week.
Jerks.
Sure.